Welcome to the Bahamas. It's CARIFTA 50 and we're getting ready for the third and final day of a competition. It is a beautiful island, and as we've said over the last 2 days, it is a beautiful occasion. The 50th CARIFTA Games from Nassau in the Bahamas. We're at the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium. Yes, it's the morning session of the final day. It is the morning after the night that we got a pole vault record by Brendan Vanderpool of the Bahamas. A 5:06 clearance kept us here close to 10 o'clock Bahamas time. But yeah, it was very much worth it. And now we are ready for the final day of a competition.
That's your lineup for the finals.
74 degrees Fahrenheit, the humidity up at 78%, the wind 2 miles per hour, and we get closer to competition here on the final morning. This, based on the events that we have to cover, seemingly the shortest of the morning sessions on paper, but yesterday's evening session didn't look too long either, until we had to deal with this, the pole vault final for under 20 boys. Open for boys, sorry. It took a while, but this man came to the party in a massive way. The defending champion, Brendan Vanderpool of the Bahamas, with very few fans in the stands, delivering a CARIFTA Games record, 5.06 meters. So much great action on yesterday's second day of competition here at the CARIFTA Games. One of the standout performers, Michelle Smith of the US Virgin Islands, dismissed top 3 athletes in the world at the under 20 level this year to win that event. Russian Clark of Jamaica winning the under 20 boys event, 49.92, second fastest in CARIFTA history. So we had some amazing performances, but a lot has happened over the last 12 hours or so that we have to bring you up to date with as it relates to the relays, and we'll be discussing some of that in detail. Good morning again and welcome to our live coverage of CARIFTA 50. My name is Ricardo Chambers and I have with me Hubert Lawrence and Chris Brown. And gentlemen, good morning. It's a pleasure to have you once more, Hubert. I hope you got some rest last night ready to go.
Thank you. Ready to go.
And I'm sure, Chris, you got a lot of rest last night.
Definitely got a lot of rest last night.
All right, fantastic. Well, let's start with news as it relates to the 4x100 meter relays. The Jamaican teams in the under 17 sprint relays have been disqualified. Now, on the girls' side, and we'll have a look at it here, Natrice East on the third leg stepped on the inside lane. Just watch closely there, and the pass had not been completed yet, so the decision made to disqualify the Jamaica team in the under 17 girls 4x100. Very, very close. Hubert, Chris, take us through what you think about this as we have another look at it.
The inside lane, and her left foot there steps into the lane inside where Jamaica is running, and so that puts them at risk and in danger. One more step, then her left leg goes into the lane on the inside.
You can see that she was running up on her teammate and she did not want to get spiked, so she basically had to take a step out and ease off the brakes a little just to get the baton off. It was a little sloppy in the passing, but she got the baton off and they made it through. But again, the disqualification came, which is very sad because you never want to get this far and get disqualified at this point in time, especially winning the gold.
Yeah, of course, what that meant is that Trinidad and Tobago took gold at 46.18 seconds. The Bahamas, the silver medal now, 46.43, and Bermuda getting bronze at 48.12 seconds. The Jamaica team was also disqualified in the under 17 boys 4x100 meters relay, and the change from second to third was the issue on that relay, and the Bahamas had won the race, so they have the gold medal at 41.46. Grenada now the silver medalists at 41.95, and Trinidad and Tobago the bronze medalists at 42.51 seconds. And here's a look back at this race. All well on that first change for the Jamaicans, with the 400 champion Nicole Bramwell running a storming second leg. And Hubert, this is around where they had the issue.
Looks like the third leg goes out hard, then hits the brakes, then it's a dodgy change.
And you can see that his teammate didn't even get out. So
Got out fast, Chris, and then saw he was going too soon, and then hit the brakes to make sure the baton would get to him.
yeah.
Yeah, and then this morning, we're now learning that there was a protest for the under 20 boys 4x100 meters relay, and that event will be rerun at 3:15 today, Jamaica time. Now, remember that Bahamas time. Remember now that Jamaica had won that event in 39.68 ahead of the Bahamas, who finished in second position. And what had happened initially, the Bahamian first leg runner, Zachary Evans, had gotten left in the blocks. The race was recalled with the rest of the field running about 40 meters. The protest suggesting that the Bahamians had an unfair advantage, and therefore the decision taken to rerun the race. Hubert, let me start with you. Your thoughts?
Evans left in the blocks, maybe thought there was going to be a recall, and stayed in the blocks. The other guys run off hard. Minor for me. I wouldn't encourage, if I were the jury, wouldn't rule on a rerun, but that's within their right. If the protesters established that there was an advantage given to the Bahamas by having their first leg man rested while the others worked hard for half of the first leg, then that's the line they took. That's what they've gotten back, a rerun today.
Totally agree. Couldn't said it any better. I mean, it's clear as day, So I would have kept it the way it was. You got to be ready to get at the blocks, and I think this. Couldn't say it any better.
Yeah, it is really disappointing, because when you consider that a lot of these athletes have other events to come, either the 200 meters or the 4x400 relay later on as well. And I'm trying to understand what would have been going through the minds of the decision makers when it comes to this decision. I'm going to be as honest as I can be with this one. It makes absolutely no sense to me. I understand that, well, there are 7 teams who could feel that the Bahamians had an unfair advantage. But the race went off. You were given whatever time you were given. 7 teams had to deal with that. It was dealt with. The race went off. Seemed fair after that. Why are we then coming one day later and putting these athletes through another race? It just does not make any sense to me. I cannot understand it. This, for me, is just unbelievable. Unbelievable that this is happening.
The protester would offer that Evans of the Bahamas has had a chance to rest while the rest of us sprint hard for 40 meters, and that makes a difference for their case. For me, an extra race, not for good reason, for me.
Here's what I'll say. So if it is that the protester feels that they have been hard done by the decision or the timing between the initial race being sent off or the recall and the race being sent off, then have that team run by themselves at 3:15 and try to make time. Why are we putting through another race
With
7
everybody.
other teams?
With everybody.
Just doesn't add up for me. Can't understand it, and I don't think it's fair for the athletes.
Well, every now and then, a home country would get away with a card, and we know sometimes everybody's protesting, everybody could see it clear as day, but sometimes you're allowed to get away with a card, and I think that's their getaway card. So who knows? But
The starter's job, Chris, is to ensure a fair start for all teams and all individuals.
Correct.
In the starter's judgment, a fair start wasn't granted to all people together. So they recall the race and you restart it, you take those results. That would be where I would leave it. The protester argues that because Evans didn't run at all, the other 7 teams, or his team or her team, exerted energy that Bahamas did not exert and then got the silver medal. And so that's what they want to put to rights. For me, as the administrator, the jury, I'd say, no, we're finished with that. Looked okay to me. Let's move on.
Yeah, you have to be strong as the adjudicator in a situation like this, because you have to be careful that you don't run the risk of turning the event into a farce.
I think that in this meet where there's been races run with one or two competitors to give them a chance, the spirit of the competition is to give everybody a chance, leads to the jury thinking this way. But in this particular race, I think everything was okay when I saw it last night.
All right, let's have a look at what we have for you today as far as competition is concerned. As I pointed out earlier, it is a shorter morning session than what we've become accustomed to. The javelin throw final for under 17 girls, the high jump under 20 girls final, semi-final round of the 100-meter hurdles for under 17 girls, long jump under 20 girls final, the 110 hurdles for under 20 boys semi-finals, and the 4x400 semi-finals for the under 20 boys coming up as well. On the initial schedule, we were to debut the pole vault for girls, and I am not seeing that, so I am thinking that there were no entries for that event, and so hopefully in the years to come we'll have that. We take our first break on our coverage of the CARIFTA Games from Nassau in the Bahamas. We'll be back with more. CARIFTA 50 from the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium in Nassau, Bahamas. And we should have action coming up in the 100 hurdles for under 17 girls semi-final round. And we also have finals in the field. We're getting ready for all of that. Ricky Barry is at trackside. Let's find out what she's up to.
Yes, Ricardo, right now it's shaping up to be a very tense competition here in the under 17 girls javelin throw. We have record holder Diore Scott from the Bahamas who's participating now. They're actually trying to double check her last throw. So the first throw of the entire competition was done by Bahamian Kamara Strawn, who actually broke Diore's record coming into this. So already we have a CARIFTA record held by the Bahamian right now. Coming up right after her was the former record holder Diore Scott, who just threw, and the officials have been going back and forth trying to confirm what this throw is. It seems like it may be another record breaker, so it seems like we may be tit for tat. Luckily, I think for the Bahamians, it's between the two Bahamians. We have yet to see the other competitors go. But for right now, it's definitely shaping up to be something very intense. They've brought out another measuring tape just to ensure that they're getting the right records. Coaches are asking, what is this number? What is the number? What is the number? So this, definitely stay tuned because there seems to be some exciting stuff happening. Records broken after records broken. I'll keep you updated with what that new, what that final result is from former record holder Diore Scott. But in the meantime, I'll send it back to you up in the booth.
All right, thank you very much, Ricky Barry. Hubert.
Scott, the defending champion, won in Kingston. Her teammate, fourth in Kingston, so they're trying for a 1-2. Saw a number of those yesterday, and Scott comes in as the favorite, but under severe challenge from her teammate.
I'll keep you updated on what is happening in the under 17 girls javelin throw final. Of course, it is not uncommon that if there is a record mark, that it is double checked and that the steel tape comes out just to ensure the accuracy of the mark.
It's physics. The steel tape less resistant to heat, and therefore any stretching and would cost the distance for the thrower. And the champion here, pensive, looking on. The two Bahamians, Scott and Strawn, hoping to see that the record is ratified. That's number 95. That's Scott, the champion last year, and under threat from our own teammate. They can't even tell us what the distance is because they're trying to make sure when they say the number, it's audited by the steel tape and it's fact.
Yeah, remember in Kingston last year when Keyshawn Strawn broke the javelin throw record for under 20 boys. Initially, we had gotten a mark, and then by the time the steel tape came out, that had been adjusted. Of course, still had the record.
Yes, a tremendous thrower. Strawn, now at college in the States, and already has a university record in the javelin, and every likelihood that he will step in the footsteps of the great ones in the Caribbean gone so far, Anderson Peters and the outstanding Keyshawn Walcott of Trinidad and Tobago.
There's DeRay Scott, the defending champion in the under 17 girls javelin throw. Her record coming into this, 44.57 meters, broken on the first attempt in the competition by Kamara Strawn, her teammate. And it looks as if it's only the two Bahamians in the field, is it? Well, Scott is getting ready for her second round effort, so let's see what she delivers here. DeRay Scott sends the implement flying. That one won't threaten the record. Maybe falling short of the 40-meter mark.
It's early, but still a hearty cheer for that effort. The Bahamas fans tuned into the javelin, and the purity of track and field is that this event, it's easy to identify what you must do. Throw further than your opponent. These two girls already matching throws at big distances.
And we have a history of this. We have the great Laverne Eve that threw the javelin for us for many, many years. She's been to the World Champs. She's been to the Commonwealth Games. She's been to every major championship there is out there. And we have a lot of respect and love for this event as well. So Laverne Eve made this event very popular in the country.
Twice Commonwealth champion, LSU NCAA champion, which is in college in the States. One of the enduring figures of Caribbean track and field, Laverne Eve. And sure, she's tuned into the show.
Definitely, I'm sure she is. This event actually is just becoming popular again. It's been on the low for a while, but it's getting back to its popularity, and you can see the girls, they're challenging themselves. So we're getting back to where we're supposed to be.
Jules of St. Lucia, competitor 417.
.37 meters and 10 centimeters this season for Jules. Saw St. Lucian silver last night in the pole vault, just about 10 o'clock. Jeremiah Felix, fist pump, bit of advice, nice smile from the coach, and a positive connection between coach and athlete, and he's going to reprogram and send her back out there.
Five competitors listed for this javelin throw on the 17 girls final. Two from the Bahamas, Jules from St. Lucia, Zala Lemons of Curacao, who steps up now for another attempt. And there's also Sebastiana Reyes of St. Martin. Lemons falls short of the 30-meter mark, that effort.
Tall girl will get stronger. And this is the under 17 javelin, of course, but nice body build for the event. Will get stronger, will get more dynamic and faster, and could come back here to CARIFTA with big throws in her locker.
And you can see, you know, coach the athlete, as you said earlier, coaches, this is the time for coaches and athletes to trust each other, to know that this is it. We've been here before. The coach have to basically get the athletes motivated all over again after a big throw or a bad throw. And so once coaches have that conversation with the athletes, they know how to calm them down, they know how to rev them up and get ready for the next round.
Sebastiana Reyes on the runway. It's a lot of height on that one, but once again, falling just short of the 30-meter mark.
Short, herky-jerky run-up. Powerful arms, of course. Another tall young lady able to generate power out of the arm, but needs a run-up to help guide the javelin out there. Bahamas back in focus in the under 17 javelin. They're the top two returners and the top two in this competition right now.
That means they're coachable, very coachable athletes. You can tell the ones that are very coachable. They listen, they pay attention, they focus, they study their craft. There's no questions, and they just do what you ask them to do, and that's it.
Homemade number, Camara Strawn of the Bahamas on deck.
Competitor 96. I'll try to get you the leading marks shortly. We do know that Strawn surpassed the previous record in her opening round. The record coming into this 44.57 meters set by Diore Scott, her teammate last year.
I really would like to know what goes on in the mind of an athlete standing up, waiting, knowing that, hey, all focus and attention is on you. What do you do next?
I think this is where the training comes in. You know exactly what you need to do to prepare for competition. As Strawn steps up, fires that one out there. That's threatening the record again.
Missed
She
the podium
is-
last year, Ricardo. Anxious to be big enough to get on the podium this year.
She is feeling very good this morning. And she is letting the implement fly, and it's flying a long way.
Jogs back to the sidelines for little reprogramming. There's the instruction, keep your hand high. Release point needs to be high and forward so the javelin goes where you want it to go. Short advice session, 1 or 2 points hit by the coach, and she walks back with clarity about what to do in the next round.
And that's where the trust comes in. I trust my coach enough that he's going to give me the information that I need to take this javelin a little further and make it happen today. To walk away with the gold.
The trust built up with time, Chris.
Yes.
So when she goes in, doesn't need a long conference after her first couple of throws here, just tweaking. A little this, a little that, and hopefully we'll all come together. Strawn, looking strong in the javelin.
She definitely is.
Big girl, bigger than Scott. Run up, a little bit more slow, but purposeful, and keeps the javelin high. And so far the results have been very good for her this morning.
And she's using all of it to her full advantage. She's taking full advantage of everything, the height, the body, just the mental. She's using it all today, and she's taking it in, and that's why you see she's where she's at front right now. So the pressure is off. She's relaxed. She's looking like, okay, I'm going to sit back and see what happens next.
So once again, looks as if the steel tape is out.
That's a good sign. It means that new standards are being set. Despite the work of Laverne Eve and Liver McCoy, a weak event for the CARIFTA Caribbean. The Cubans a bit different. They've had great results in the javelin in the past. But for the CARIFTA Caribbean, progress being made.
Definitely. And that's what you would want to see throughout the time. Progress.
There she is, Camara Strawn. On her way to dethroning last year's champion and her teammate, Diore Scott.
Measurement in progress to certify that last distance. That's where the tape goes to.
I think we would like to give a shout out to all the hard-working staff that put this thing together to make this CARIFTA Games possible.
They're the quiet heroes of track and field in the Caribbean, of course. They come out, many of them volunteers, taking time off from their daily jobs just because of the love of the sport.
Yes.
And the love for young people. And they keep the sport going all across the region. And hard at work now because records need proper certification. Steel tape out, and you see the great care taken by the measurement. They've gone from the 0 point up where the mark is back to the scratch line to make sure that the numbers are correct for both Scott and her challenger, Camara Strawn.
She's got to be feeling really good to know that she had the tape out several times for the day.
For sure, just 14 years old, Camara Strawn turns 15 on the 21st of May. So she will be back in this age category next year, like Diore Scott, back to defend her title. If she wins this, of course, then she will return as the reigning champion, as the defending champion a year from now.
Just 14. Laverne Eve, big and powerful, and looks like Strawn is growing in that same mold. And the success that Eve had, maybe she too, Strawn, will walk in those footsteps and become a world-class javelin thrower in the future.
Has had opportunities to test this javelin runway this season. CARIFTA test event at the beginning of March. She threw a 42.00. Well, she threw 42.00 meters and then followed that up at the CARIFTA Trials and Bahamian High School Championships with a 43.59, which put her as the #1 athlete in the region coming into the CARIFTA Games. And she continues to improve here this morning, stepping up in a big way. And seemingly now twice breaking the record previously held by this young lady, Diore Scott, a 44.57 performer from Kingston last year. And what must be going through her mind now as she looks to reclaim her record and retain her title. She knows that she is up against it, but there is still time for her to find a winning moment.
It's double jeopardy. To regain the title, she must break the record and put it so far out of reach that Strawn, who is obviously in the pink of form, can't get to it before the 6 rounds are complete. This is the defending champion, has to shoulder the challenge and rise to the occasion.
Saw it last night from Brendan Vanderpool in the pole vault open for boys. He was challenged by Felix of St. Lucia, and he shrugged off that challenge and went one better by breaking the CARIFTA record with a 5.06 meter effort. And now DRA Scott must try and do something similar as she looks to retain her CARIFTA Games under 17 javelin throw title for girls.
Records hard to come by in this CARIFTA Games, but last night and today they're starting to roll in.
46.07, the record mark thrown by Strawn. So she needs a personal best now, DRA Scott, if she is to land the gold medal.
Left-hander, bouncy, heads down the runway.
Here is DRA Scott, sends that one flying. And once again, well short of the 40-meter mark. Doesn't seem to be in the type of form she was a year ago, the 15-year-old. She too, quite young. Turned 15 on the 14th of March, which means that she can be back in this category next year as well.
Won it last year. Bahamas has the aces in the hole this year, and both girls will be back next year as well.
To be 14, their coach is doing something pretty good with them, because for you to be able to have two in the finals and going back and forth, that is excellent. These girls are 14 years old, you know, so sometimes the pressure gets to them. Sometimes you can be exhausted. This is day number 3, so it's a lot can be going on at 14 years old in your head.
46.07 meters, the new record mark. And the former record holder there on your screen, DRA Scott, knows that she has a massive mark to chase. What must be going through her mind at this moment? If there is any consolation, it's another Bahamian that has it. And so the gold medal returned to the Bahamas. And the record. Once again, 5 competitors over there in the javelin throw for under 17 girls. The new record holder, Kamira Strawn, and her Bahamian teammate, DRA Scott, the former record holder, along with Naya Jules of St. Lucia, Zala Lemons of Curacao, and Sebastiana Reyes of St. Martin. As we continue to have a look at DRA Scott, last year's champion.
Has to focus. Challenge on our doorstep. If the challenger is from overseas, don't have to see them after the competition. Challenges your compatriot, see them often, then that can be trouble. This competition not over though, has to gather her thoughts and produce the best throwing of her life.
I think sometimes as an athlete as well, you can know where your body is at. And sometimes when you're in competition, you tell yourself, give it everything you have. But there are those days when deep down you feel as if it's not quite there.
If I get to see my competitor every day, that's a daily reminder. That's a daily reminder that, you know, we have something to do, we have a score to settle.
Good reminder too. The 100 hurdle semifinals for under 17 girls coming up next on track. Championship record for this event, 13.11, set by Crystal Morrison of Jamaica in 2018. There will be 2 semi-final heats, the top 3 from each plus the next 2 best on times to advance to the final. And this first semi-final has the defending champion, Brianna Davidson of Jamaica.
Was in action last night on the 4x100s. Very good start leg for her team. That team disqualified, of course, and comes up having that as a warm-up to get the jets firing. Normally a bullet starter, and here lines up in lane number 6. Has a good season this year, Jamaican Trials champion, and will want to convert that to some success in the Bahamas.
She sure will. Returns to Nassau as the favorite. There's the lineup. Naima Caprice, Martinique. Gomes of Trinidad and Tobago. Costa, Curacao. Harewood, Barbados. Davidson, the defending champion, Jamaica. Morton, British Virgin Islands. And Moss of the Bahamas.
Caprice in the finals last year. And
Alika Harewood of Barbados. Second fastest in this lineup.
has run 14.45 at the Louis Lynch meet in Barbados, and won the Barbadian trials for this event.
Madison Moss of the Bahamas on the outside. Last year, no qualifying heats for this event. Once again, progress, as you have pointed out several times throughout the broadcast, Hubert. Many of the countries hampered by the COVID-19 pandemic and had not returned to normal in time to have full contingents for last year's event.
And even before this, many times this event wouldn't have any heat. So this is true growth.
Brianna Davidson, Jamaica, the defending champion and the favorite, goes in lane number 6. Davidson up well. Gomes of Trinidad and Tobago now back in the pack, but the Jamaican in control. Harewood of Barbados slips into second spot. Gomes of Trinidad and Tobago in third. Brianna Davidson shuts down, meters away from the line, and comes through to advance to the final of the under-17 girls 100-meter hurdles. 13.68 seconds for her, showing that she is in fabulous form. Got a nice run out on the 4x100 last night. Ran the first leg of the Jamaica team that was eventually disqualified, but she returns with her hopes in her own hands in the 100 hurdles and looking ready to defend her title.
Shaking in the blocks near to her, but not out first, but gets to hurdle 2 in the lead and keeps on going with very precise hurdling. Nice lead leg, comes back down to the ground, and here hurdle 10 skips across the finish line with something to spare.
She looked very relaxed, very comfortable, confident going over the hurdles, and she was in full control. She just cruised it on in and basically, like, hey, on to the next round.
Top
Very
3
good.
advance automatically, so here with a Barbados there, as is Gomes of Trinidad and Tobago. 13.68, 14.31 for Harewood. Gomes 14.58. We're watching the times in 4th and 5th. 14.67 for Caprice. Morton 14.86.
Polished display in the first heat by the defending champion. Harewood from Barbados. They've got some good hurdles in their history as well. Kerry Beckles had a CARIFTA record in the past from Barbados, also showing very well there in second place for Harewood.
Second semi-final coming up in the under-17 girls 100-meter hurdles. Last year's 4th place finisher in this semi-final. In fact, 2 finalists from the 2022 campaign in this second semi-final. Matt Master of the British Virgin Islands and Pranzola of Martinique. But the Jamaican Kamoy Binga probably comes in here as favorite.
Second in the Jamaican trials, but a fine hurdler. And McMaster has been busy here in these championships. She's also here to see if she can make more progress in the hurdles. But Binga Normally very snappy, quite fast across the flat as well, and she'll be the one to watch in its second semi.
Yeah, Bingham was in the under-17 100 final in Kingston last year. But as you pointed out, a snappy hurdler.
Okay, on the track, we're getting ready for Heat 2 of the under-17 women's 100-meter hurdles. Again, the top 3 in each heat, plus the next 2 best times will advance to the finals. Here are your competitors. Running out of lane 3, representing French Guiana, Leon Alfred.
Full lineup, Leon Alfred of French Guiana goes in lane number 3. Zaza France of Curacao in 4. Asia McMaster of the British Virgin Islands, she'll go in 5. 4th in last year's final. Kamoy Bingham of Jamaica. Very good form this season, Bingham. She's in lane 6. Sophia Swindle of the US Virgin Islands in 7. And Luan Pranzola of Martinique, 7th in the final last year. She goes in lane number 8.
Bingham, right side to your screen, is the fastest in the field here, 13.16, and at her best, that speed and her fine hurdles technique make her very, very dangerous. Jamaica very strong in this event right now among juniors. The last 2 world under-20 champions, Nugent and Hill.
Remember, no qualifying heats last year. And so the likes of McMaster and Pranzola would not have had a preliminary round to get into the final. This time around, they have to do it the hard way if they are to repeat as CARIFTA Games finalists. Away they go. Friends of Curacao got up well. The Jamaican Bingham gets into her running now. Bingham going clear of the field. Bingham ahead of France of Curacao. Comfortable victory for Kamoy Bingham of Jamaica.
Trots across the line after a disciplined display to hurdle number 10. In the hurdles, you can't really go easy until you've gone past all of them, because that changes the rhythm. 3 steps between barriers. If you ease down, you find yourself in trouble. And then when she got to hurdle number 10 and cleared it, then she began to cruise. 13.79 for Kamoy Bingham.
13.80 the official time for Bingham, with Sophia Swindle of the US Virgin Islands finishing in 3rd behind Zaza France of Curacao in 2nd. Those are the automatic qualifiers.
You can see the way she shut it down. She was confident that that's going to be a fast time, and she's ready for the next round. She looks very good and relaxed coming over the hurdles. You can see she's taking the time, and she's just having fun out there. She knows she's in control, and she just gets ready to glide it on in.
Remember, the first 3 automatic. So we're looking at the times closely for 4th and 5th to see how they match up with those from the first semi-final. 14.67 and 14.86, the 4th and 5th place times from semi-final 1. We take a break on our coverage of CARIFTA 50 from Nassau in the Bahamas. We'll be back with more.
The islands of the Bahamas. Fly away.
Property owners, are you in need of new waste collection services due to the changes in government waste collections on multiplexes? Then call Bahamas Waste for your free quote today or to sign up. It takes only 10 minutes and we'll get started right away. We're fully...
Back at the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium in New Providence, Nassau, Bahamas, as we've just seen action in the 100-meter hurdles for under 17 girls. We've also had a record already this morning in the javelin throw for under 17 girls final, with the Bahamian Camara Strawn throwing 46.07 meters to remove the previous mark held by her teammate and rival DRA Scott, who had set 44.57, winning in Kingston last year. That was Sebastiana Reyes of St. Martin. So the leader in this event, Camara Strawn of the Bahamas, came in with a 43.59 performance, has improved to 46.07. DRA Scott, the defending champion and the former record holder, in second position at this stage. 5 competitors in the field: Naya Jules of St. Lucia, Zala Lemons of Curacao, and Sebastiana Reyes of St. Martin, the other athletes. And you just saw a shot of the record holder, Camara Strawn. Here's competitor 21238, Zala Lemons of Curacao. Start of a new round suggests she is in 5th position. And that one may be just beyond the 30-meter mark.
That's the under 17 finals for the women's javelin.
And over at the high jump, Dejanay Bruce, her first attempt at 1.78 meters.
Lemons in the competition, trying to move up, needs to do it now because she's running out of throws, and needs to go 40 meters to get close to the champions, last year's champions and maybe this year's champion-elect here.
Here's Naya Jules, St. Lucia.
Silver last night in the pole vault.
Not her.
Felix goes back to camp last night and says, your turn tomorrow, to Jules. She has to do it now. Semis, boys under 20, 100-meter hurdles. 110-meter
And if
hurdles.
you just joined us here at the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium here in Nassau, the Bahamas.
Big event for the men.
Welcome to the
Grand
O3
Brathwaite
Medical
World
Center,
Champion
50th CARIFTA
Omar
Games
McLeod and
2023.
Hansel Parchment, Olympic champions.
There's the lineup for semi-final 1. Hippolyte of Guadeloupe, Pierce of Barbados, Trishon Robinson, the Bahamas, Demaria Prince, Jamaica, Lucas Ledoux, Martinique, and Lucas Monteboard of Martinique.
Robinson winning the trials in the Bahamas, 14.08, and he carries the hopes of his country in this event. Had Shamar Sands, bronze in the World Juniors 2002, went on to run for his country in the Olympic Games.
Now we're looking to put this event back on the map. We got a good group of core hurdlers now, so those guys are looking pretty good.
And that was
110-meter hurdles semi-final action for the under-20 boys. The championship record 13.23, set in 2014 by Willem Belosian.
Went on to run for France in the Olympic Games and was world junior champion as well for France. And his marks stand as testament to how good you can be in the event. Pierce of the Barbados in this semi-final. That's where Ryan Brathwaite comes from.
The double complete Kane Shelbourne's
2 semi-final heats. The top 3 plus the next 2 fastest to advance to the final.
competitors left.
14-17 for Pierce this season. On the right-hand side, Demario Prince, World Junior finalist last year, fell and has devoted his season in 2023 to repairing that breach.
Okay, we're
Second
ready
in the long
for
jump yesterday.
the semifinals of the under 20 men's 110
And
meter hurdles.
Was on the 4x1 last night.
There'll be 2
On the
heats
third
in this
leg.
round.
May have to run
Here
again
is
this
your first
afternoon.
heat. Running out of lane 3.
The big news coming through this morning that the under 20 boys 4x100 meters relay final will be rerun at 3:15 today. That's 3:15 in the Bahamas local time.
Lane 5.
A protest
representing the Bahamas, Trayshawn
successfully upheld.
Lane 6
The
representing
Bahamian team
Jamaica,
deemed to have had an advantage
Lane 8.
after
representing
an initial recall.
Martinique.
The Bahamian first leg runner Zachary Evans left in the blocks. Unlike the rest of the first leg runners who ran about 40 meters, he didn't. And that deemed enough to have a rerun. In my estimation, unfortunate, but it is what it is. First semi-final of the under 20 boys 110 meter hurdles. Hippolyte, Guadeloupe, Pierce, Barbados, Robinson, Bahamas, Prince, Jamaica, Ledo, Martinique, Monteboard, Martinique. Top 3 to advance automatically to the final. Robinson got up well, the Bahamian, but Prince quickly into his running now. Demario Prince to the front. Robinson of Bahamas in second position. Battle on for the third automatic spot. Prince wins it. Robinson gets second. And the Barbadian Jaden Pierce leans in to get third. And the final automatic qualifying spot, but that looked comfortable for Demario Prince of Jamaica, 13.78.
I wondered if the long jumping yesterday and the 4x1s would take some zip out of his legs today, but the start muted. But by hurdle number 2, in charge and motoring, second look, Robinson of the Bahamas beats him to hurdle number 1. But after that, Prince hurdles like royalty and comes away from the field. And here he is over hurdle number 10. There it is. Starts the saunter to 13.78. Robinson also shuts off the gas. He's safe in second. The top 3 sure to advance to the final.
13.78 for Demario Prince. Trishon Robinson, 14.11. Jaden Pierce, 14.41. Those 3 advance automatically. 14.47 for Hippolyte and Monteboard, 16.34.
Hippolyte at 14.47. Outside shot. One of those 2 places on time to advance to the final.
Lemons of Curacao in the javelin final for under 17 girls. Gets that one well over the 30-meter mark. Continues her battle for a medal. Can pretty much say gold and silver safe based on what we have seen.
Just don't know who the champion will be yet. Strong in the driver's seat.
She has quite a lead there as well.
Field events, though, just one effort can turn the whole thing around. Can the defending champion pull it together, channel the energy through that left hand, and get past her teammate to defend her title? That's the question.
I always feel like you can never leave a defending champ out. I always feel like a champ is a champ and they know how to pull one out of the basket. Regardless of what's going on in front of them, they know how to pull one out. So I'm just going to keep my eyes open and see what happens.
33.29 meters, that last effort by Zala Lemons of Curacao. And here is Jules, a 42.92 fourth round effort. has her in the bronze medal position. Jules goes for it. And this one over the 30-meter mark, but I don't think as good as the 42.92 from round 4.
Seemed to go for it on the run-up and swung for the fences. Somehow destabilized their technique and got a shorter result. And she will get across. So we saw her talking to her coach. Good, positive coach-athlete connection. He'll calm her down and refocus on those parts of the technique she needs to maybe get to the silver. The gold medal, if it stays the same, out of range. But maybe she's thinking she could be like her teammate last night, Felix, and get a silver.
Here is Diore Scott.
We're getting ready for the second heat of the under 20 men.
Just does not look happy.
A little shrug of the shoulders.
The confidence, you can see the confidence is not where she wants it to be. So she's basically given up on the competition. She just figured, hey, it's just a bad day.
If you play sport, you get that feeling sometimes that maybe this is just not your day.
Correct. And you just have to go with it. Not every day is going to be peaches and cream, but some days you have to accept that, hey, it's going to be sour and water, you know. It's just going to be what it is.
There's the lineup for the second semifinal on the 20 boys 110-meter hurdles. Shaquille Gordon of Jamaica in 3. Otto Ling, the Bahamas, in 4. Nicolia Kennedy, Barbados, in 5. Omari Bennett, the U.S. Virgin Islands, 6. And Keon John of Trinidad and Tobago in lane 7.
Gordon, great on the flat. Part of that 4x1 team last night. That may have to be in a rerun. Otto Ling of the Bahamas in lane number 3. 14.29 this season. Those two with a chance to get to the top 2 spots, I think, and put their hands on places in the final.
Omari Bennett, U.S. Virgin Islands, challenged for an octathlon medal here. Left out of it in the final analysis. Now trying to get into the sprint hurdles final.
Kennedy 4th last year.
Off they go. Brilliant start for the Bahamian Ling. Shaquille Gordon of Jamaica right there with him now. Ling and Gordon. Gordon inches ahead of the Bahamian and struts across the line with just a little bravado. Gets into the final comfortably. The Bahamian there as well. The top 2 safe. The top 3 safe. And we'll have to wait and see the time for 4th if it's good enough to advance. 13.72 for Shaquille Gordon of Jamaica.
Gordon and Ling both competent hurdlers, but Gordon maybe a bit faster across the flat. Gets to the following hurdle in a shorter space of time than the Bahamian. Second look, aquamarine vest and the yellow vest to hurdle 1 at the same time. And then Gordon's speed and his snappy lead leg give him an inch, then a foot, then a yard over Ling. First and second, 13.72.
Yeah, the Bahamian coming through in 3rd. Kennedy, 14.27 for him, 13.89 for Ling, 13.72 for Gordon. Omari Bennett at 14.53 gets into the final as the second non-automatic qualifier, with Kellyanne Hippolyte of Guadeloupe, the fastest non-automatic qualifier at 14.47 from the first semi-final. CARIFTA 50, final day, day 3 at the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium. We'll be back with more action. Back at the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium in Nassau, Bahamas. We've just seen qualifying in the 110-meter hurdles for under 20 boys, and that followed qualifying in the under 17 girls 100-meter hurdles. All the sprint hurdles finals to come this afternoon. Here is DeArray Scott with a little bit of purpose down the runway in the javelin throw under 17 girls. She is fighting to retain her title. That will not be good enough to get the job done, but you could see her really pushing herself on that effort as she chases 46.07 set by her teammate in your shot competitor 96, Camara Strawn.
Got the bit between her teeth a while ago and went at it down the runway. Saw the fire in her belly and the passion for being a champion. As she walked back though, a little touch on the hands with her teammate Strawn, like the passing of the baton for one champion to the next.
Yes, and that's what you want to see through these games. You want to see, hey, it's all in love, it's all in fun. Go ahead, do what you got to do. The victory's yours, you know.
Strawn, slower, more powerful. That javelin pointing upward. Has she done the job of becoming champion?
Seems as if she has. The 14-year-old at home, both Strawn and Scott eligible to return in 2024. And they have put on a show this morning, so in another year, we could see even more progress. And that is what you want in these events. As Hubert pointed out earlier, the CARIFTA Caribbean has struggled in the javelin. And it's always good to see when you start from this young age and you can see the potential to get better in the coming years.
Two limitations. Not everyone can afford the javelin. The implement's quite expensive. And of course, not every school or club has a space for something traveling 50, 60, 70 meters. And so that constrains where you can and who can do the javelin. But as the popularity spreads, more clubs, more schools, more youngsters fall in love with the event because it is beautiful. And as they fall in love, as they get help, maybe Laverne Eves will come forward again.
Definitely. This sets an example of, you know, what you're looking to see. Good teammate fight was there, passing the baton. You know, everything is moving in the right direction. As they grow, they will get better and they will continue the success, and you'll see more and more. Because all it takes is one person to start. You know, one person start is a domino effect, and that's what you'll see as time goes on.
And Ricardo in the foreground, the pole vault apparatus. We saw that all night last night through to 5:06 for the champion Vanderpool. His father, his coach, a pole vaulter himself as well, and the baton passed in one family from father to son.
A 1-2 finish for the Bahamas in the under-17 girls javelin throw. Camara Strawn getting the better of DeArray Scott. And based on what we saw, we'll get you confirmation as soon as possible. But Nia Jules of St. Lucia taking the bronze medal. High jump under 20 girls final also in progress. That competition should be in the latter stages now. Long jump under 20 girls final also on the schedule for this morning. And as far as track events go, just 4x400 qualifying for the under 20 boys to come. 9 teams in there, so you always have to watch closely. If one drops out, then they'll go to a straight final.
Haven't taken the effort to take my stopwatch out of my bag yet, because when I counted 9, I wondered if all 9 would turn up. And if that happens in one heat, people would go as slowly as possible to save energy for the final today.
Definitely.
And of course, in these situations, energy conservation, very important, with races in the morning, maybe individual races in the afternoon, and races on the relay in the evening.
And a rerun as well of the under 20 boys 4x100 meters relay final. Once again, remember, a protest was lodged the Bahamian team deemed to have had an unfair advantage after their first leg runner, Zachary Evans, did not leave the blocks. The race was recalled and sent off shortly after. Once again, don't agree with it, but that's what we're faced with. Let's get to the high jump for under 20 girls. You're looking at the champion, competitor 5'8" representing Jamaica, Cavan. She's won the title. We'll get confirmation shortly of what height she is attempting, Torian Cavan.
She's very upset with herself because she's feeling like, hey, I know I can do better. And she knows she can clear it. She just didn't put the effort forward. I think that she'll regroup and come back and get it. Athletes just want to be able to wind down. I think and a lot of them feel like, hey, it's the last day. It's time to go. I'm ready to go. You know, so when you see athletes not putting in 100% effort anymore, some of them already clocked out their time to go, and they just want to get it over with and enjoy the rest of the day.
All handshakes and backpacks there.
Yeah.
The high jump concluded, and Cavan, the last woman standing.
1.82 meters. Her personal best did that at the Jamaican High School Championship. Said she was delighted to finally get over that 1.80 barrier.
It's a barrier. Some big ones in track and field for Chris. 45 flat for lots of men is important for the 400 meters. And for youngsters at this age, the high jump, 180, jump round about 6 feet, important to be able to jump over my height and to keep on going. Next level up, 2 meters. And of course, to be world class on the women's side, that's an important barrier to cover.
Before her 182 performance at the Jamaican High School Championship, she had gone 175 on 3 occasions. As we have a look at the long jump final for under 20 girls. And this is Hudson, Casey Hudson of French Guiana, triple jump bronze medalist this time.
Champion last year.
After a gold medal performance last year. And she tries to get another medal in the long jump here. Final competitor in the order, Casey Hudson of French Guiana. We'll try to get caught up with where exactly this competition is at.
Looks like Dejanay Bruce.
Pretty sure she was in the high jump as well.
Jamaican high school champion in her age group in the high jump, but outstanding all-round jumping package, tall and lean and fast as well.
Based on the order of these jumps, I wonder if we're already in the final 3 rounds.
Top of the order, Gianna Paul. Saw her in the heptathlon. All-round package of excellence from Trinidad and Tobago. Here she is on the runway. Top of the order, girls under 20 long jump.
And maybe Dejanay Bruce jumped out of order because she was involved in the high jump. As we have a look at Gianna Paul of Trinidad and Tobago. Already a medalist here in the heptathlon. Gets the white flag. And now we await the distance.
She's a package. Can run, can jump, can throw, can hurdle. And if you're building a championship chasing team, might be someone you could look to. Coach?
Well, I had a conversation with J.U. Gordon last night and at trackside, and he basically said that it's a development plan that they're on, and he knows what it takes, and the athletes are bought in, and that's what it takes. You have to be bought in to know where you're going, and if you're not, then you're going to always have a hit or miss. But I can tell you he's doing a good job, and the teams look really good.
That's competitor 546, Lynn Antoine of Turks and Caicos Islands. Gets the white flag. Antoine of Turks and Caicos Islands.
And that was a clean jump for Turks and Caicos, Lynn Antonio. Up next is Trinidad and Tobago to make the games. It's the under-20 women's long jump.
Let's head down to Ricky Barry.
So I'm here down at the javelin station with our 1 and 2. We have Ron and we have Diore Scott, both from the Bahamas, 1 and 2 in this event. Not just medals, but records broken here by these two lovely ladies. So we're going to hear from them. Kamara, can you tell us, how did it feel getting this record? And did you come into the competition expecting to break this record?
Yes, Mom, I felt very great. I came in there ready to throw and get the goal.
What was it like when you broke that record on the first throw? Did you expect that throw to be the throw?
No, Mom, I wasn't expecting it throw. I expected the last throw to be the good throw, but that's
so what are you gonna do now that you've already broken the record? What's the next step for you?
it's the still train and focus on my techniques and stuff.
Beautiful. We also have second place and the former record holder, we have Diore Scott. So tell us, what was this performance like? Because even though you came out with the second, you still got what looked to be a PB and a record. What would have been the record?
I'm still proud of myself, and I'm more than proud of my teammate. I wanted to throw more, but I'm glad what I threw. And even despite of the challenge that I've been through, I'm glad what I've done, and I'm happy that I PB'd.
Beautiful. Congratulations to you both. I don't know what the celebration plans are for after this. Any plans?
I mean, I just want to keep training for the next competition that I have.
Great, beautiful. Bahamas is very proud of you guys. Thanks for putting us on the medal stadium again. And I'm going to send it back to you, Ricardo, in the booth.
All right, thank you very much. And here's a look at it. Diore Scott, her best effort, 45.13 meters coming in the third round. A personal best for her would have been better than her record mark a year ago, set at 44.59. And Hubert, fabulous performance. To get a personal best is a big deal, even when you haven't retained your title.
If you're going to go down swinging. 45.13, personal best. Lost to this girl, her teammate, Kamara Strawn, who, ahead of her, set records that were remembered for a long time.
45.60 in the opening round, and then 46.07 in the second round. Put the pressure on early. And even though there was an attempt at a response, it wasn't good enough to deny her the gold medal and the record. Fabulous performance.
Well, coming from two teammates, having a good attitude, rivalry is very good. Two PBs, I mean, what can you ask for? I mean, like you said earlier, if you're going to go down fighting, and she did it. She went down swinging, and she retained. She didn't get the gold, but she got a PB out of it. I'll take a PB any day. I mean, going into a competition and coming out with a personal best, even if you don't medal sometimes, just the fact that you had a personal best helps you knowing that you're heading in the right direction. So both have great attitudes. Future look bright. I'm happy for both ladies. I think they get a bright future, and I think they'll do well in the coming years.
Scott, gold and silver in 2 seasons, and Strawn, 4th and now champion with the record in 2 seasons as well in the same event. And both so young, they can come back next year.
Which is a good thing.
Back to the long jump for under 20 girls final. Gislanda Kluger of Haiti. Competitor 300, a 5'11" performer coming into the CARIFTA Games. For a medal, you suspect she'll have to go better than that.
Yes, close to a meter better.
Tripling the 5-meter mark with that effort.
We jump for the Nera Haiti. Up next on the runway, Renia Smith, Cayman Islands.
She's heading to the coach corner to get that advice on what she needs to fix, and coach is going to give her a heads up, and she should make the adjustment, and you should see some kind of improvement.
Renia Smith of the Cayman Islands.
Different body physique from the Haitian we saw a while ago. Smith, big girl, will cover ground with long strides, I believe, and has a chance to get right out there in the long jump. That's Kareem Street Thompson territory. He is doing one of the best long jumpers in the world and a fine sprinter as well. So if she's watching Kareem Street Thompson videos, she'll have a template to work with for excellence.
Her teammate Andrew Stone won the under-20 boys long jump here. And Kareem Street Thompson, a two-time Austin Seeley Award winner, 1989 and 1990. And she sails out into the pit. Let's see if she gets the white flag. No, she doesn't. Thought it was close on the board. A foul effort for the Caymanian.
A lot for the coach to work with, though. Good speed in a short run and no lift there. So if they can, over time, maybe not today, tweak the run up and tweak the takeoff. There's lots of distance there for Smith of the Cayman Islands to exploit in the future.
The triple jump silver medalist coming up. Nanisha Lubin of the Bahamas.
Shades, warm day in the Thomas A. Robinson. Always a touch of style about the Bahamians. Watch them walk into Penn wearing dark glasses in 2014. Here's Lubin on the runway.
Tall, strong, powerful. She sprints down the runway. And let's fly the Bahamian. Well over 5 meters. Gets the white flag.
Yes, the Bahamas always a jumping stronghold in the Caribbean. Lots of high jumpers, long jumpers, and triple jumpers. Both men and women over time, and Lubin has shown some speed in the CARIFTA Games as well. Looks like she has a combination worth nurturing for the future.
Definitely. You know, we had the greats like the great Levan Sands inside there who was holding it down for a long, very long time.
Superman, Sands, 1992, Frank Rutherford, bronze in the triple jump in the Olympic Games. And of course, this is Dawkins, Jamaica, excellent in the triple jump.
Jaden Dawkins, triple jump champion. Beating Lubin, dethroning Casey Hudson of French Guiana. Searching for a CARIFTA double. That was very close on the board. And gets the red flag.
Tall and powerful with good control speed on the runway. That first gold medal tasted so nice. Working on a second one. The Guyanese trying to stop her. But Dawkins looks good.
Amélie Ponchery of French Guiana coming up.
This is the time when athletes like the stadium to get on their feet and they like to hear the music and the noise and get them crunk and get them started because it's a different energy that they can release when they're on this long jump runway.
Yeah, that's going to be a red flag. Well over. Wasn't even close. And Dejanay Bruce involved in the high jump earlier. I'd love to get an update as to exactly how that one finished. We know that the Jamaican, Kevin, secured the gold medal.
Bruce, a high jumper first, but her coach at high school, Coach Jadon Hibbert, the world junior indoor record holder at triple jump, and often when you see high jump and long jump combined in one meet, there's a triple jump coming in that athlete's future.
Definitely, and the confidence is there with it. The confidence goes a long way with it because she knows if she's doing that many events and she's successful at it, she knows that, hey, I'm having fun at these games.
5:04 in the first round. Dejanay Bruce now jumping in her correct position. And once again gets over the 5-meter mark. Gets the white flag.
Looks bigger than 5:04. Tall and slim with powerful legs. Good ingredients for long jumping and high jumping and triple jumping. Has the same type of build as Shanika Ricketts, the world silver medalist and the Commonwealth champion. And for that matter, Rojas of Venezuela, the world and Olympic champion.
When you condition the body, everything else is going to take care of itself. And I think she's well conditioned.
5.34 meters. That last effort for Dejanay Bruce of Jamaica. So that will definitely move her up in the standings.
Her teammate listed for this event, Adeja Hodge, last is under 17 champion, of course, out of the championships because of a turned ankle in practice.
483 in the opening round for Aria Smith. If she is to make it into the final 8, she will need a better effort. Gets a lot of height there, but comes right down and maybe below the 5-meter mark once again.
The officials' white flag fluttering in the direction of the jumpers into their run-up, and so there's like a slight negative wind out there at trackside for the long jumpers, so that makes it a bit more complicated for them with their run-ups.
We are in the second round of the under-20 girls long jump final. Getting to the closing stages of this round, just a few competitors to come. And we're awaiting the mark for that young lady from the British Virgin Islands, Aria Smith. 4.87. It is an improvement on the 4.83 from the opening round. But you don't get the feeling that 4.87 will be enough to get her into the top 8 and 3 further jumps. But she still has one round to come. Marimai Durante of Martinique. Steps up for battle. Second round effort. Shows great speed down the runway, but takes off well behind the board. And still manages to threaten the 5-meter mark.
Needs to go for it. One more round before the cutoff comes. She wants to be on the right side of that line so she can get 3 more tries. And clearly her run-up needs retooling because she's taking her from behind the board. And of course that pesky headwind that's down that trackside, down in the long jump, has to learn to deal with that very quickly if she's to get more tries in the long jump final.
Two competitors to come, 5:09, so she gets over the 5-meter mark, Durante of Martinique. And this now will get to the penultimate competitor in the second round of the under-20 girls long jump final. Tallery Vitalis of Guadeloupe. Fouled her first round effort. Needs a mark on the board. Vitalis of Guadeloupe stretches to the board, takes off well behind. Let's see, she should get the white flag. She does get the white flag, but it's not a mark that will seriously threaten the top 8.
And the white flag blowing in the face of the jumpers as they come down to the pit. So again, there's a headwind, and something interesting. In the pit, struggled with her core strength to stay upright so she wouldn't fall backwards and cut down the measurable distance. So great physical fitness, great core strength for the Guadeloupe jumper. And here the tutorial. On the runway, run, get to the board, lift. When you're in the air, fly.
4.65 meters. One competitor to come. Casey Hudson of French Guiana. Final jumper in the round. And it looks as if Hudson has passed. If we're looking at Gianna Paul, who will start round number 3. Casey Hudson, champion in the triple jump last year, silver medalist in the long jump last year in Kingston, bronze medalist in the triple jump this time around. And we're looking at Gianna Paul, fouled her first round effort, 5:22 on her second round. This is her third round effort, again taking off behind the board. Similar distance to what she produced in round number 2. Hoping for an improvement to try and move up the rankings and challenge for another CARIFTA medal.
A little untidy in the air, but a solid run and good leap off the board. And here goes into council for refinements. Saw her in practice on Thursday last. A bright spark, going about her business in a professional way. Looks like she's behind the board and adds more than 20 centimeters. That's how wide the board is to the deficit she's trying to make up with distance in the sand.
5.03 meters, so her best remains at 5:22.
And Ricardo reached into for my stopwatch to split these 4x4s. They set for 10 o'clock, 10:18 on Big Ben.
I think an announcement came about 10 minutes ago that it would be at 10:30. Here is Lynn Antoine of the Turks and Caicos Islands. Don't think that will do it, or will it? Yeah, it looks a little bit better from this angle.
Reminds me of former U.S. sprinter Muna Lee, an Olympic finalist at 200 meters, but without that breakneck speed just yet. And as she increases her speed, her distance is increased as well.
For sure. Muna Lee in that Beijing 100 final as well. 4th, just missed out on a 200 medal. And here Antoine gets out there. Now we await her distance. 4:98. Next on the runway, competitor 491, Janae Gans, Trinidad and Tobago, 5:93, her best in the opening round. Here's the Gans, third round effort in the under-20 girls long jump. And she gets another big one out there. Would love to be over 6 meters here at the CARIFTA Games. And when you consider that she is competing against the wind, these are quality efforts.
Watched her sprint at the Trinidad and Tobago trials, and that's been evident on the runway here. Good
Was on
speed,
their 4x1 team last night as well.
good lift. Manager Jehu Gordon, the world champion, highly of both her and Gianna Paul, and you can see why.
Wendell Williams, the long jump coach with the Trinidad and Tobago team himself, an outstanding long jumper in his time, 5.74, so not as good as her best, 5.93.
But 2 jumps in the 5.7 meter range, so establishing a consistent base for the next 3 rounds.
April Adderley of the Bahamas, 5.08 her best. That came in the second round, a fall jump to open the competition. Looking for an improvement to confirm her top 8 position. Adderley of the Bahamas hits the board well. Once again, maybe just over that 5 meter mark. Gets the white flag.
Stewart, the last of the great female Bahamian long jumpers. And looks like they're rebuilding a core in this event as well. Nice, wide open sprint strides. Doesn't peek down at the board. Right on it as well. Goes forward not to fall back, to smudge out some distance. And then legally outside the pit, and again goes in for some tweaking. And a little bandage on the left hamstring. Little kinesio peeking out at the bottom. So some wear and tear in a 3-day meet with a busy time schedule, and 5.24.
An improvement for her.
And you can tell every time each athlete goes to their corner, they get tips and they go back to the runway and they improve. So it shows that the coaching student technique works very well.
Gislanda Clegre of Haiti. 4.70. Her best effort came in the second round. So announcement just coming through. No heats for the 4x400 under 20 boys. They go straight to a final. Not surprised, to be honest, as Clegre fights to get to that 5 meter mark, but she sees a red flag, and her best will remain 4.70.
Goes across, makes a query. Marches off with purpose.
Here is the Caymanian Brenia Smith. 5.21 in the opening round. Fouled her second round effort. In the mix to be in the final 8. But she wants to improve to guarantee her place. And this is her third and final attempt in the preliminary stage of the competition. Remember, the top 8 will get 3 more jumps.
Tall and rangy, quite fast on the runway. Devontae Howell, the 100 champion, said how much potential there is in the Cayman Islands. She's part of that. Smith.
She is a 5.60 jumper. And even against the wind, she could have more to give. Final event of the morning session now. The long jump final for under 20 girls. We're in the third round. The Caymanian searching for the pit. Renia Smith trying to improve on her best effort so far of 5.21 meters.
Yes, steady on the runway. Gave a big effort. This, of course, is the last round of the first half of the final. So time to go for it, Chris. And she certainly gave it a good effort. Up to, see, 5.43. Let's see if that comes back on the board for Smith of the Cayman Islands. Went for it.
In a time like this, you have to put it all out there. You know, you can't save anything, and she basically is looking like, I have to put it out there, I have to do what I have to do and make it happen, and there you see.
5.12 meters, so not an improvement for her. 5.21 her best from the opening round. Here's Lanisha Lubin of the Bahamas, triple jump silver medalist, trying to make it into the final 8 of the long jump. She has a 5.43. That should be more than good enough to get her there. But she's thinking about a second medal at these CARIFTA Games. Such a powerful looking athlete, Lubin. She flies down the runway, stutter steps into the board, and gets over 5 meters again.
Went for it, bubbling with energy, overran the board, hit the brakes, cut the momentum, and the jump with the best intentions spoiled.
I'm sure she's going to hear a lot of that from her coach in the corner.
Again, her strength keeps her upright and stable until she can move forward and sideways so as not to smudge out distance by falling back.
We await her distance for the third and final round. Here we go. 5.43 her best before that last effort. And this one comes up at 4.88. So 5.43 remains her best.
Dawkins searching for another gold medal.
5.32 in round 1. Out of the medals now, and goes and gets a big one. That will advance her in the standings for sure. And Jalen Dawkins of Jamaica gets a quality effort in. A 6.12 jumper this year, ranked number 5 in the world at the under-20 level, number 2 in the NACAC region, and already with a CARIFTA gold medal, and stepping up with a solid effort in round number 3.
Measurement being made for Dawkins, the triple jump winner. Tall and powerful. 5.89.
That puts her in second position behind Janae Gans of Trinidad and Tobago at 5.93.
Strengthens her position in this long jump. Crisis for Pulkari of French Guyana.
Third and final attempt coming up for her already. No mark in her first 2 efforts. Has to get something on the board to have a shot of being in the final 8. Bounces up the runway. Oh, that's very close on the board. The flag is red. Not a great morning for her.
The officials have offered to her a chance to look at the mark. Board 20 cm deep. In front of it, a strip of plasticine as Dejanay Bruce, the outstanding prospect, steps up for her third attempt. 5.34 row number 2.
5.34, the 4th best we have seen. This is her 3rd round effort. Can she advance in the rankings? He's involved in high jump action this morning. Eases down the runway. And that looks an improvement if she gets the white flag. It's very close. The officials have a close look. And the red flag has been raised. They offer her the chance to have a look.
It's a good courtesy. So she can see what they've seen. Takes another look from the front side of the board. Walks away, convinced. Or not. Miss, are you sure?
it's okay for an athlete to question it because at the end of the day, they want to make sure that, hey, there was no mistakes made. Do we need another eyes on this? Or you can confirm again once more because the athlete want to make sure that their mark is good, or they want to make sure, hey, you didn't just take something away from me that I have to live with later on here and that it was a good mark.
Ryan Smith of the British Virgin Islands, 487 at her best so far.
I think now with the junkie music revving up and the crowd coming inside now, I think now these athletes will definitely start to feel the effects of that adrenaline rush and what they look for in the competition. You know, we look for excitement, we look for that adrenaline, we look for anything that's going to give us that edge or that bring out that adrenaline in us. We're ready and open for it. So I know now that you're going to really start to see some great performances.
I'll do a survey to see if it affects the overseas athletes as well as the Bahamians in the same positive way.
Well, I'm pretty sure it will. I'm sure it will because they know coming in the stadium, they already knew that this junk canoe was going to be there. So they feel like we don't get this all the time everywhere. So having a little something on you, if you tried to conk in the Bahamas and you went in our waters, then it's going to help you. And I'm sure everybody has already had a taste of the conk and had some water some way or the other.
Commentator lunch plan, conch fritters for the final session.
Yeah, this is Araya Smith of the British Virgin Islands. Needs to be over 520 if she is to advancing this competition. Her best so far, 4.87 meters. She needs a big effort in round 3.
Hasn't looked like she's going to jump 520 so far. Has to reach down within and find the motivation to produce something big right now.
Steadies herself, starts her run. Take off behind the board, that's not good enough. Far from good enough. And now she exits the competition with that effort.
Eliminated. Big wrap on her left leg around the thigh. And maybe not quite at the physical best here. Came out to give it her best for her country. That's something you tilt your hat to. Gets up that little look of resignation, and here she is getting up. She's done her best. That's all she can do.
Important to watch as well at the back end of this third round. Casey Hudson, the silver medalist from last year, the triple jump champion from last year, triple jump bronze medalist this year, passed her second round effort. We did see her take a first round effort. Not sure what the mark was on that first round effort. And we'll be watching to see if she does take the runway for round number 3. But we're 2 competitors away from her. This is Durante of Martinique, 5:09 her best. That came in the second round. At this stage, she is either in 8th or 9th, depending on what the first round mark from Casey Hudson of French Guiana was. But to guarantee her place, she needs to be over 520. Way behind the board she takes off from, and I'm afraid that might not be good enough.
Lots of speed on the runway, ran with purpose towards the board, but somehow that pesky headwind may be the reason. Somehow missed the board by a considerable margin. She misses the final 3 jumps. She'll know where she missed the distance. Even from that angle, her takeoff foot behind the board, that could cost her dearly. Bright spirit though, gave her best, and there's a tick mark for that in the checkbox, 5.19.
That's close.
Cranks up some distance.
That is really close. As I said, we're not sure what the first round effort was for Hudson of French Guiana. As we look at competitor 291, Tillery Vitalis of Guadeloupe, 465 her best. A long way away from advancing to the final 8.
Hudson last in the order. If she reappears, triple jumping is violent on the body. Maybe some wear and tear there.
Here's Vitalis. Third round effort. Long jump on the 20 girls final. Lots of stretching there. Still didn't get to the board. And once again, that one definitely not good enough.
The flag's just outside the stadium, blowing toward the long jumpers. I wonder if that's coming into. Yeah, the white flag from the official is standing up straight, blowing in the faces of the long jumpers, and that could be the cause of all of these jumps where the takeoff is well before the board, like this one. That's 20 cm back from the board, and whatever she gets measured for at 20 centimeters, that's what she could have jumped had she reached the board in time.
Left her left leg hanging as well, cost her some distance. 4:23, so probably can add another 20 to the 20 you spoke about, Hubert.
Yes, and maybe halfway up the board, so 30. That'd be 4:53. That still wouldn't be enough to get her through to the final, though.
Kezia Hudson not taking a final jump based on what we have. Janae DeGans of Trinidad and Tobago leading with 5.93 meters, ahead of Jaden Dawkins of Jamaica 5.89, Lanisha Lubin of the Bahamas 5.43, Dejanay Bruce of Jamaica 5.34, April Anady of the Bahamas 5.24, Brenia Smith of the Cayman Islands 5.21, just behind Gianna Paul of Trinidad and Tobago 5.22. That's the top 7. Durante of Martinique has a 5.19, and we're not sure what the first round effort was for Kezia Hudson of French Guiana. We take a break. When we come back, we'll confirm all that for you. By then, we'll be closer to seeing the final 8 in action. Back at the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium in Nassau, Bahamas. Third and final morning of competition at the 50th CARIFTA Games, and the shortest of all the morning sessions. We were to have 4x400 heats for the under-20 boys to close the program, but that has gone to a straight final, and so we're left with the under-20 girls long jump final. We are down to the final 8. We're awaiting confirmation of the final 8 before we get back to that competition. We can tell you though that Janae DeGans of Trinidad and Tobago has the lead at 5.93 meters, ahead of the Jamaican Jaden Dawkins at 5.89 meters. Last year's silver medalist Kezia Hudson of French Guiana, she, I suspect, has withdrawn from the competition past her second and third round efforts, having taken just one jump.
Yeah, beginning to worry for her because triple jump and long jump are common combination at this level, but the triple jump very hard on the toes, ankles, knees, and the hip girdle and the lower back, and that first jump and 2 passes suggest that she's in some distress.
Yeah, Ricky Parry has the competitions director at trackside, and we'll get an update now on the rerun of the under-20 boys 4x100 meters relay.
standing here with competition director David Charlton, who's going to give us an update on what happened. So we know last night in that 4x1 under 20 men's, there seemed to be some discrepancy that happened.
Yeah.
So can you explain to the viewers what that discrepancy was and why it is that you guys chose to rerun that event?
As you all know, the race was called back after the gun started. The Bahamian said that he could not hear the gun or the command, so the race was called back. Bahamas subsequently got a second place in that race. There was a protest filed because Barbados felt that they were put at a disadvantage because they had gone more than 80 meters in the race. So they felt that the race should be run over because the Bahamas did not get out of the blocks. After the jury of appeal reviewed the start of the race, and it showed that the Bahamian athlete had an unstable start. So they decided that the best instance was to rerun the race. So right now we're just waiting on the teams to confirm whether or not they are going to show up to run the race.
Okay, and when is that race due to be rerun?
3:15 this afternoon. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, no problem.
So we did have that update there. We're looking to see whether or not the other teams are going to continue in the run and make it a fair race. We know that the question was posed why all of the teams chose to run again versus just having one team run again, and it seems like the director sufficiently explained why that is. So we're wrapping up here now. I'm going to send it back to you, Ricardo, in the booth.
Thanks, Ricky. Hubert, Chris, not sure any of that changes my mind. What about you?
I'm not sure either. I think the decisions last night were the best ones, that the race should stand as it was run last night. The starter has control of the races when they go to start. He felt that Evans wasn't a fair start. Call the boys back to the blocks, run the race over. That should have been it to me. This is a lot more untidy. But we'll see. The second choice is for the team managers and the team coaches to decide whether their athletes come to the start at 3:15 as well. So that keeps a rolling effect of the choices made by the protesting team and by the jury to allow a rerun. They want to make sure it's fair in the spirit of the games, but I thought it was fair last night.
Yeah, I agree with you as well, Hubert. Definitely thought it was fair last night. It's not the first time we have seen situations like this in track and field. It has happened before. Of course, depending on the specific circumstance, the starter may decide in some case or in some cases to say, well, let's run another race before we go back to that because we want to give you more time. The starter may decide to extend the time to the start of the event if there is not another event that you can go to before and all of that. But I'm thinking about it and I'm thinking to myself that, as you pointed out, the decision that was made last night seemed like the right decision. The race went off. It was a fantastic race. And to now say to those teams, come back, let's do this again at 3:15 today, I'm just not sure is the wisest decision. Chris?
The cascade is that there are 200 finalists coming up as well. And some of those team members will be in the 200 as well, and maybe the 4x4s later on. So it's a cascading decision that affects races down the line.
Yeah, very much. Chris?
Yeah, I definitely believe that at this point in time, it should have been settled and done with, because these are young kids and you want their bodies to be able to last for a while. If you continue to race and run them over and over again, their body's going to be depleted, and you've seen over and over again where persons have been called out and taken out on a stretcher, and it make matters worse if you continue to keep that competition going just for another race. So I think it should have been dealt with already.
Chris, you're a coach. What do you do if you're a coach of the teams who now have to come back and run the 4x1 a second time?
Well, I mean, I can take it two different ways. You know, I can say, hey guys, let's be good sportsmen, let's go out there, let's compete. Or I can say, hey, we've done, it's over, it's done, it's final. But at the end of the day, if the officials make a statement saying we must run this race again, then I think that everybody should just gear up and just be prepared to come out and just run the race.
Would you turn up, Hubert?
I know that a lot of the children have races in a couple of weeks at the Penn Relays, certainly the Jamaican kids, and so that's a consideration. Race management, energy management. We've heard that Evans now didn't hear the starter. That's why he didn't move. The starter takes that into consideration last night, calls the runners back, and restarts the race.
Yeah, I'm not sure I buy that explanation, Hubert. And I'll tell you why. I would love for us to have a look at the video to tell you why I don't buy the explanation about not hearing the starter. But tell you what, we're going to go to Sasha Lightburn, who has a lovely package for us from CARIFTA Swimming in Curacao.
With a total of 1,113 points, Team Bahamas will be bringing home a 5th consecutive crown. The 4 days of competition have come to an end, with the Bahamas taking in a total of 85 medals. Last year, he served as assistant coach for the first time for a CARIFTA team. And in his first year as head coach, Cameron Bruni will return home today with a 5th consecutive crown. While the win was still fresh, we asked him how it feels to be the head coach of a national team in the 50th year of our independence.
Feels great. These kids came out there, they did what they needed to do, and it feels good that they are able to do something for the country for a 5th straight time.
Several of the swimmers were also excited about the 5-peat.
A lot of people doubted us because our team was so young this year and fresh, but we always had faith in our team.
And I think that the whole team has really done a great job throughout this entire trip. And I'm so proud of my team. They came out, they did their thing, they swam hard. I had a lot of confidence in them.
For me and Nigel are in the same boat, but this is our last CARIFTA, so it makes it even more memorable that our 5th win is our last one.
It's a really special feeling, and it's a special experience.
A lot of people wanted to make this team, but they weren't able to. So I feel really happy that I am on this team.
Now the top 3 countries ended up with points like this. In first place, the Bahamas had 1,113 points. In second place was the Cayman Islands with 752 points. And in third place was Trinidad and Tobago with 534 points. Reporting from Curacao for our news, I'm Sasha Lightburn.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sasha. Clearly, you had a wonderful time in Curacao and probably still having a wonderful time in Curacao. Who knows, Hubert, one of these days we should head across to Curacao. Not sure what we're going to do, but I'm sure we'll have a lot of fun. It is a beautiful place. But yes, we're talking about the rerun of the Under-20 boys 4x100 meters relay that is scheduled for 3:15. We heard from the competitions director, who has said where they are at this stage is waiting to hear from the teams whether or not they will turn up to compete. Now, from my standpoint, if I were in charge of any of those teams, I would be thinking about what is in the best interest of my athletes, and whether or not we do that rerun is solely dependent on what is in the best interest of my athletes. There are 200s to come, there are 4x4 relays to come later on as well, and to ask some athletes to turn up to rerun a 4x100 might just not be in their best interest. I also suspect that the teams will not be able to make changes to the 4 that they had in the final last night, and that also will impact the decision of the individual teams. But that's where we are. The officials have said, the jury has said that the event will be rerun. It's set for 3:15 today. Let's head back down to Ricky Barry and find out what she has for us. Not quite Ricky Barry. We're heading to the long jump final. And we're looking at competitor 394, Durante of Martinique. So she did make it into the top 8 with her 5.19 effort. And no Casey Hudson of French Guiana. So she is first in the order, which means she's in 8th position. Her best mark, 5.19 in round number 3. Now she has an opportunity to jump for a medal. Takes off behind the board.
Again.
And once again over the 5-meter mark.
Sometimes you get a letdown in round number 4 in field events, where that time spent resetting the field, changing the order so the number 1 jumper jumps last and the number 8 qualifier jumps first. Sometimes that can change the mood out there, and sometimes the athletes are worse off in that round. Good run. Again, you can see in front of the board a couple of centimeters given away to reduce from our distance. Did I see 5:02?
I think that's what we saw. 5.02 meters, so her best remains 5.19. Next, we should be seeing Renia Smith of the Cayman Islands. She's in 7th position with a best of 5.21.
I like her chances to become a really good athlete, a really good jumper and sprinter, tall and powerful. Has jumped over 5 meters and 60 centimeters. Has a chance to go near to that now.
Smith. Tickling away to the left side of the pit. Legal effort though.
Greater effort, Ricardo, and just off balance and tilting off to the left-hand side. Here she is, big, powerful sprint strides, arms pushing forward on the board. Her takeoff foot, the right foot, she closer to the left side of the board than the right side. That gives you the balance flight we saw. And wait for the measurement for Smith of the Cayman Islands. Big effort.
Renia Smith of the Cayman Islands, a 5.60 jumper. Waiting to see if she has improved in round number 4. 5.21 her best, and that is 5.17 meters, so her best effort still her opening round effort. Gianna Paul of Trinidad and Tobago coming up next. She's in 6th position with a best of 5.22 meters. That came in round number 2, just 1 centimeter ahead of Smith. Already a medalist here at the CARIFTA Games 2023 in the heptathlon.
Smith has size and power. Paul, very efficient, very well trained in all of her events, steps onto the runway knowing that the medals are a bit further ahead of her.
Gianna Paul. Great speed down the runway. And that doesn't look a bad effort. She gets the white flag. And that might well be her best effort of the competition so far.
The break seems to have settled her mind if your guess at the distance is correct, Ricardo. And that's great because you want to be high concentration all through the competition. Digs in early in the run. Little adjustment, nice foot placement on the board. And maybe wanted to hold the feet up to just a bit longer to time it better, but a nice run and takeoff by Paul.
Think she might be threatening the medals with that effort. 5.34 meters. She goes into 4th position.
And look at the flag behind these officials. The red flag standing up tall because the breeze is blowing into the faces of the jumpers, including April Adderley of the Bahamas.
That 5.34, same mark as Dejanay Bruce of Jamaica. And now April Adderley. Started in 5th. She's now down in 6th position after that performance from Gianna Paul. 5.24 her best. Can she respond to that improved performance from the Trinbagonian? That looks like a good placement on the board. And gets the white flag. Close to her 5.24 best.
Chris, you're my sprint coach. Knee lift for Adderley could be higher, more pronounced. What do you think?
Definitely, she can use a little more practice. I think her and her coach will work on that again during the off season, because during the off season is where you get the opportunity to make these adjustments. But again, sometimes when athletes get in trouble or they revert back to what they used to, and that is something that the coach makes adjustment to once they get to the sideline. So you see a big improvement, hopefully on the next jump.
Yeah, right on her best, 5.24. Thought it was close to that, but no improvement for April Adderley. She remains in 6th position. Here's Dejanay Bruce.
Right now, high jumper first. long jumper second. In the future, maybe a triple jumper, 5.34 in round number 2.
Right now, in 5th position, because Gianna Paul's second best effort of 5.22, better than her second best effort of 5.04. And there she is with an impressive looking effort. This one looks maybe a little better than her best, chasing the bronze medal at this stage, which is currently held by Lanisha Lubin of the Bahamas at 5.43.
Looked like she ran harder, so she would go past the board, tiptoed a couple of steps, adroitly, and then really jumped at it to make the distance. Left foot right on the board. Lovely height and flight from this bundle of jumping potential. 5.49.
Moves into the bronze medal position. Dejanay Bruce of Jamaica. Here is Lanisha Lupin. She has been relegated to 4th position. Can she respond in the 4th round? 5.43 her best. And there's a 4th round mark there, which shouldn't be. And she gets ready to make her 4th round effort. Lubin of the Bahamas. 4th round of the long jump for under 20 girls. She's in 4th position, having started the round in 3rd. Here's her response. Oh, stutter steps into the board, and that cost her valuable height and distance. And she will remain in 4th position.
That's how our 3rd round jump looked. Hit the gas down the runway. Thought she was going to overrun the board. Here's the 2nd look. Here she is, held for leather on the runway. Little tiptoe step to hit the brakes, and that compromises the run, loses momentum, and loses distance. Can jump, smooth out her run up first. 5.02.
Next on the runway, Jaden Dawkins of Jamaica, competitor 3.24. Already a triple jump gold medalist. She's in the silver medal position here. Her best 5.89 meters. She's trailing the Trinity Begoni and Janine DeGans. Round 4 for the triple jump gold medalist. Oh, looked as if she hit the board really well. And if she gets the white flag, that is surely the lead. The Jamaican Jaden Dawkins, the triple jump champion, with a big 4th round effort after threatening in round 3. She gets it right in round number 4.
Maya of Belize got a double in the under 17 1500 meters and 3000. Dawkins chases a double of her own. Right smack dab on the board with a right foot takeoff. A lovely extension of the jump. Held the knees up high and extended the jump way down the pit. And she's the first to reach 6 meters in this competition.
I think she is. That looked like a really big one. And she will take some beating now. After that effort, this competition really heating up in round number 4, 6.14. That's the best she has produced all season, Hubert.
And right at the right time, you're facing the best of the CARIFTA Caribbean. And gold already in the triple jump, going for a double.
This is Janine DeGans of Trinidad and Tobago. Held the lead coming into this 4th round. She's now in 2nd position with a best of 5.93 meters.
Can she respond?
This is what champions are made of. Her lifetime best, 6.06 meters. That was set a couple years ago. It's a wonderful time to improve on that. Speeds down the runway and just lost it in the air. That left foot left behind her. And it's the Jamaican Jaden Dawkins who leaves round number 4 in the gold medal position.
Pretty often, round number 4 is a letdown as the jumpers recover from the break between round 3 and the reordering. But this round number 4, lots of the young ladies, including Dawkins in particular, have responded with big jumps to improve their chances. Here's the Gans, Trinidad and Tobago, red and black, fast, nice, takeoff, short on the board a little bit, and in the air, wants to clean that up for the 5th round jump, and maybe she too can go over 6 meters. She can really jump, the Gans. Fast on the runway, Chris, and some technical adjustments could bring big distance.
Definitely, she definitely has the potential, like you said earlier, just cleaning up the phases, going through that, going over and over, and having confidence in herself. And I think that she'll definitely be a force to be reckoned with. The good thing is with jumpers, they get better as they go. So it's easy for them to make the adjustments through and throughout the event.
Like the Gans' possibilities, watched her at the Trinidad Trials in the 100. Impressive athlete.
Durante 5:19, her best. And that came in round number 3 to get her into this final 8. Dawkins of Jamaica now leads at 6:14. The Gans of Trinidad and Tobago in second at 5:93. Bruce of Jamaica in third at 5:49. As we look at this effort, Lubin of Bahamas in fourth at 5:43. Gianna Paul of Trinidad and Tobago in fifth at 5:34. Adderley of the Bahamas in sixth at 5.24 meters. Smith of the Cayman Islands in seventh at 5.21. And this lady, Durante of Martinique, in 8th position at 5.19. And she starts round number 5.
The key to this competition is navigating the wind. The flags outside the stadium and the flags inside the stadium indicate that the breeze is blowing into the face of the jumpers all throughout the first 4 rounds and now round number 5.
This is where the coaches come in sideline. They give feedback, and athletes take those feedback and make the adjustments, and you see it from there.
Fifth round effort coming up for Brenia Smith of the Cayman Islands. 5:17 in her last
singlet.
round.
Let me say again, the breeze blowing at her running vest, and it's blowing into her, and that slows down her running and hurts her jumping.
5:21, her best effort coming in round 1. 5:17 in round number 4. Looks like she has the potential to go better. Can she put it together? Not very patient in the air, Brenia Smith. And maybe that is costing her valuable distance in this long jump for under 20 girls final.
Let's talk about timing the jump. The run is nice, she's powerful, and she's fast. Gets quite a good foot placement. You want to hold the knees up as much as possible to time the landing. The more you fly, the more ground you cover, and then you only let the knees down when you feel you're coming down to earth. That's what she needs to work on.
We await the distance for this round number 5 for Brenia Smith.
5:02, Ricardo, not an improvement.
Remains in 7th position. Here's Gianna Paul. Started the final 3 efforts in 6th position, but she's now moved into 5th position with a 5:34 4th round effort. This is round 5. Can she continue to improve? Needs 5.50 meters to move into the bronze medal position. Here she is, Gianna Paul. Steadies herself. Starts her run up, technically smooth. Loses her way on that occasion.
Now it's all in her 6th round jump. All or nothing, crunch time.
this is where the mental kicks in. You know it's crunch time. You know you have everything riding on it. This is medal round. You want to put the best out there, so you go straight to the mental.
April Adderley, 5:24 her best to this stage. Last 2 rounds showing some amount of consistency, but she needs a big one now, April Adderley. Not many inside the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium. Maybe she needs that boost. Starts her run, April Adderley. Nice and upright, hits the board well, flies out into the pit. Good, but not great.
No energy there. No John Cunha to power her down the runway. And the fans, some of them up late after the mixed 4x4 last night and heading out to fair at around about 9 o'clock. And I'm sure they're putting up great numbers for the afternoon session, but Adderley needed some help here. Nice, smooth run. Nice, high sprint arms. On the board nicely, but the zip, the vim, the vigor not there. Falling to sand far earlier than she would want to.
April Adderley of the Bahamas, 5:14 is what the distance comes up as for her.
If she wants a medal, has to crank it up in round number 6.
She remains in 6th position. Here is Dejanay Bruce of Jamaica. She's in 3rd, the bronze medal position, with 5.49 meters in round number 3. Bruce, steady down the runway. Oh, she hit the board well there, but I don't think that will be an improvement.
Nice run and nice foot placement from what we're seeing from this angle, but not quite the flight she was looking for. And maybe now she can put the 2 parts together. The jump before, outstanding takeoff, flight and landing. Here, a very nice run. So maybe for round number 6, she'll be able to match the 2 together and get a maximum effort. They're behind the board. So the board 20 centimeters deep. She's a couple of centimeters behind that. And so she's giving that away, and it's 5 meters and 13.
Still holding on to the bronze medal by 6 centimeters. No Lubin in the order as we go back to Jaden Dawkins, who now has the lead. So the Bahamian passes round number 5. Here's your leader. Dawkins of Jamaica. Not as good as her 4th round effort.
Mentally packing for round number 6. No, she has the lead, and anyone who wants the gold medal has to come and get her, but this is a notorious event for it just taking one big jump to change the order. Tall, comfortable. That's a foul. Looks like her takeoff foot planted beyond the board. And wait for the measurement or the sign to tell us if it was a foul or not. 5.99. Close on the board then. And again, she puts out another jump beyond that which anyone else has done in the competition.
Yeah, her top 2 performances would have her in gold medal position still. Here's Janae DeGans. 5.82 in round number 4. That wasn't bad. Can she find a better response to the 6.14 from the Jamaican Dawkins? DeGans purposefully steps down the runway, hits the board well, but once again may just be short of what she needs. Gets the white flag. Let's see what this one comes back at for the Trinbagonian. Has she challenged the 6.14 set by Jamaica's Jaden Dawkins?
She's strong and speedy. Gets the board with a Right foot on the board. Nice height and flight. These ladies put it together.
Five, 7-9 in round number 5. The Tripbeconian jumpers clearly well coached.
Oh yes, and in a zone, 2 jumps now at 5.79 in a series. Her best 5.82.
Here's the final round.
All or nothing. If you want a medal, you must go for it now.
Marie-Mar Duranty of Martinique. 6th and final round. She remains in 8th position. Needs 550 or better for a medal. Once again, she's taking off behind the board. And that has been the story of her campaign. She says thank you very much to the very few fans remaining in the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium. And says goodbye to the CARIFTA Under-20 girls long jump competition. She finishes in 8th position.
Has been searching for a good foot placement all competition, and that search futile. Her technique and her speed good, so she can go back to Martinique and refine her run-up, and maybe in the future you'll see that name in the headlines for long jump.
Great spirit. 5:07, her final round effort.
Great spirit. A pity she couldn't get right on the board because she's got something to work with. Here's Smith of the Cayman Islands.
5:21, her best. Came in the opening round. She is in 7th position. Knows she has what it takes to get a bigger jump in here. 5:21, followed by a fall, 5:12, 5:17, and 5:01. This is it. Has to happen here. Smith. No. The Cayman Islands won the Under-20 boys long jump with Andrew Stone. But in the Under-20 girls event, Renia Smith has to settle for a position outside the medals. A 5:21 best effort, leaving her in 7th position.
She goes back to the drawing board with some promise, good foot placement, threw herself at this effort. That put her technique off a little bit, and she and coach will have to go and fine-tune and refine what she does, but lots of potential. And in the final, lots of people wanted to be here and couldn't make it. She did.
4:92, her final round effort. Probably just ran out of steam.
Ran out of gas, got tired, lots of jumps with the breeze in your face. She's a big girl as well. That hurts you as you keep on jumping, but lots of potential.
The big moves made after the rest. After round 3, in round 4, the 2 Jamaicans, Jaden Dawkins, going to the lead at 6:14. This lady made a big move as well with a 5:34, and she is now in 5th position, Gianna Paul, but needs 5:50 at least to move into a medal position. Paul speeds down the runway. Again, takes off just behind the board. And has she done enough? Has Gianna Paul done enough to move into the medals here in the Under-20 girls long jump final?
Heptathlete and high jumper first. This could be viewed as an exercise to improve her standing in the heptathlon. Gives a max effort here doing the long jump, and waiting for the measurement. Walks out no bounce. That's not a gold medal jump, but she's given a good account of herself at these CARIFTA Games in the heptathlon, in the high jump, and here giving top class performances, the best she can muster here this weekend.
5.3, so not good enough. 5.30, and that keeps her in 5th position for now. The 2 Jamaicans in 1st and 3rd.
Bruce on the left hand side with the red hair, Dawkins on the right-hand side, but it's Adderley, I think, on the runway now for the Bahamas.
She's in 6th position. Her best, 5.24 meters. 5.24, 5.24, 5.14, her last 3 efforts. Can she dig, find something extra, and challenge for a medal? Deep in concentration. Last effort for Adderley of the Bahamas. No. Think that's going to be a red flag. It is. Started with an X, finishes with one. And April Adderley down in 6th position.
The foul because you went for it. At crunch time, you've got to go for it. Not quite perfect on the run-up, but did her best to crank out a big jump at the critical moment, Chris.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of athletes tend to save their best jump for last. And sometimes it works out, and sometimes it don't. But it's a gamble that they're willing to run, and it works out in their favor sometimes, and sometimes it don't. So,
in table tennis, the coaches advise you, when it's tight, play it like it's 0-0.
Yeah, the medalists have been decided. But Dejanay Bruce can still upgrade that bronze to silver or gold. This is her last attempt. Steady down the runway once again. And that may well be her best effort of the competition.
She can really jump, Dejanay Bruce. No extension on the jump a while ago, but extra jump power off the board.
Very close on the board. The officials having a really close look before the decision is made. No flag yet. Dejanay Bruce comes over. The officials consult. Taking a while to make the decision. Still not seeing a flag being raised.
The flags I'm looking at, big Bahamas flag, blowing in our direction into the jumpers' faces, but also across the runway, and so tricky for the jumpers out there.
And the medal's not quite decided yet because Lubin, who passed round 5, is now going to take an attempt in the 6th and final round. They have called the athlete over to have a look.
Video review, I think, on a tablet.
This is a little strange, don't you think? Still no flag.
Before video technology, the athlete would be invited to look at the board and the plasticine to see if their feet was over the board and into the plasticine, which helped people tell fair jumps from foul jumps. This is the 21st century.
Now, the athlete can request that the mark be measured just in case there is a protest. So they are measuring the mark. I've still not seen a flag, so I don't know what the decision of the officials is. And she is taking a close look at the measurement as well. She did have one earlier that was extremely close, that was ruled a fall. There's a look at it. Maybe if we can slow that down to see. That's a clean jump.
If the foot rolls over into the plasticine, the placement on the board is fine. But if she rolls over into the plasticine, the front of the shoe, that looks close, that looks clean. The next frame, toe still flat.
Oh, that's a clean
that
jump.
That looks clean.
It does look like a clean jump to me. I mean, she got all of the board that she needed, and she executed well.
Perfect foot placement for Bruce.
And that's why you have technology today to show also that, hey, if there's any type of argument or discrepancy, then you can show it right there on the tablet. So
we still don't know what the officials have decided, and that is my issue here.
Of course, there is new technology for measuring fouls in the long jump. A beam of light coming up at the end of the board. Should you breach that with your plant foot, that would be a foul.
The fact that they are still there is suggesting to me that the officials are saying it's a foul.
They think it could be a foul. But from what we're seeing here, that looks clean.
It does.
A maximally perfect foot placement.
Yeah, from what we're seeing here, that is clean.
Great pictures.
Beautiful work, by the way, from our production team.
Great pictures.
Doesn't get much better than that.
Absolutely.
And now we await the distance. The mark has been measured. We are not sure what the measurement is. The Bahamian Lubin, she's waiting to take her next effort.
So a delay for her as she gets set to crank out a big effort to improve her standing.
And I guess she would want to know as well exactly what she is chasing. Now the coach, the Jamaican coach, Jeremy Delisa, he knows the rules. He's been here many times. He's been doing this for many, many years. And wow.
And this meet does have a little dossier of protests and resets. Everyone on their P's and Q's here.
Based on what we have seen, and I don't know if they are seeing something different from what we have seen, but based on what we have seen, I cannot understand why we're still here.
They're making sure, Ricardo.
And I guess this conversation has come up in football as well, that yes, you want to get the right decision, but how long is it going to take? It's 5.78 meters. That's the mark. Looks as if it has been given to Bruce. It doesn't improve her positioning. She remains in third position. But what it does for sure is make life a lot more difficult for Lanisha Lubin of the Bahamas. She now needs 5.79 meters to move into the medals, as opposed to what would have been 5.50. Of course, if Lubin doesn't go better than 5.49, then it would have been much ado about nothing. Here she is. The only one who can deny Dejanay Bruce a medal in the under-20 girls long jump final. We are in the sixth and final round. 3 competitors to come, and this is one of them. Lanisha Lubin of the Bahamas. Starts her run. Speeds down the runway. Stutter steps into the board once again. And almost like an instant replay of her 2 previous attempts. She gets the white flag, but it's not going to be good enough to get her a medal.
No. Here's her run. She is fast, but as she has done before, too fast. Just near the board, kills out the momentum, which you need to make a long, long jump. The coach has a chat with her, arm over her shoulder, and tells her, you've done your best today. Practice, when they go back to practice, will concentrate on smoothing out that approach run.
Silver medal in the triple jump. Just outside the medals in the long jump.
Leaves here with 1 prize and lots of experience.
Now we're down to the battle for gold. This young lady is in the gold medal position. The triple jump champion already trying to become the long jump champion.
Built like a jumper, jumps like a champion, gold in the triple jump.
Here is Jaden Dawkins. 6.14 in round number 4. Eases down the runway. That's very close on the board. I think that's going to be a red flag. No, it's white. It's white for Dawkins. That was close. at least from our angle. But the white flag is raised, and now we await the measurement.
Angle's difficult. I thought it might have been a foul, but here she comes in round number 6. Tall, powerful, fast, triple jump champion, looking for round number 6. Here she goes, right foot in. That's close, but maybe that's clean. Spreads out, keeps the knees up high, and reaches into the sand. Her last jump in the girls' under 20 long jump. 5.92. 2 jumps longer than everybody else in the competition, and 5.92 to wrap up.
Now only one athlete can deny her the gold medal. Janine de Gans of Trinidad and Tobago knows it's now or silver. Can she pull it off? De Gans speeds down the runway. Takes off. Just behind the board maybe. And maybe that's not gonna be good enough. Gets the white flag. We await the distance. But just a feeling that she hasn't done enough to snatch the gold medal away and deny Jaden Dawkins double gold here at CARIFTA 50. Here's another look at it.
A little ragged on the runway. Gets set. Knows everything is on this jump. Runs out to the side with the steps. Then gets going with her runway speed. Behind the board. That could cost her some distance. There it is. Behind the white section. That's 20 centimeters wide, and that difference between being on the board and being far back costs distance whenever you do it, and could be the difference here between her winning the gold medal and taking silver. Silver is fine, of course, 5.81, even though she's that far back from the board. That's a big jump from point to point, but they measure from the end of the board, and her effort gets her the silver. 2 jumps over 5.80.
Janine de Gans set us for the silver medal with a fine performance of 5.93 meters. The gold medal to Jamaica's Jaden Dawkins at 6.14, and the bronze medal going to Dejanay Bruce, another Jamaican, her best 5.78 meters, coming in the 6th and final round here at the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium in Nassau, Bahamas. We take a break and we'll return to wrap up our broadcast of the morning session. Back at the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium in Nassau, Bahamas, as we have closed out action on the 3rd and final morning of a competition. And the gold medal in the last final of the morning going to Jamaica's Jaden Dawkins, the long jump for under 20 girls, winning with 6.14 meters ahead of Janine de Gans of Trinidad and Tobago, 5.93, and 5.78 for Dejanay Bruce of Jamaica in the bronze medal position. A story just coming through in the Jamaica Observer saying that Jamaica will not contest the rerun of the under-20 boys 4x100 meters relay, quoting the technical leader David Riley as saying, "We aren't contesting the rerun because the ruling from the jury of appeal did not declare the results null and void." figure there are some technicalities in there that will require some amount of explanation. Let's look back at the race last night from when there was the recall. The Bahamian Zachary Evans on the opening leg, he got left in the blocks. And let's just have a look at it. There he is, Zachary Evans. He doesn't go. The others get to about 40, 50 meters. All the other teams round about the same, you would think. Yeah, so there's a twitch in the blocks from the Bahamian Zachary Evans. I think because of that twitch, he does not go when the gun goes because he's anticipating a recall of the race.
That was my impression initially, and now I see it, that's still my impression there. Maybe the injuries I suffered this season made him uncomfortable in the blocks. Twitched, didn't go. Green card.
And that's why, viewers, I don't buy the argument that he did not hear the command and that was the issue why he did not go. The fact is, 7 other teams heard the command, and just looking at that, that was my impression last night. And as Hubert pointed out, having looked at it again, it is still my impression. Having twitched, he anticipated a recall. The recall did not come. Now, let me say, a twitch does not in and of itself constitute a false start. So it could have been perfectly fine for the starter to allow the race to continue as is. The race was recalled because he got stuck in the blocks. That in itself is not automatic disqualification, and within the discretion of the starter, it was within his discretion to recall the race. I have absolutely no issues with that. The only issue I have is now to have a rerun on this day, having recalled the race. Everyone goes off a few minutes later. All seemed well last night, and I just cannot understand why we're in the situation that we're in. Gentlemen, final thoughts before we have to get out of here for this morning session and return a little bit earlier than we'd anticipated later on because we have medal ceremonies earlier now and the rerun set for 3:15.
I agree. You know, having these guys come back again and run, you have to take the interest of the athletes and know that these guys are not super machines. They're little kids,
Yeah.
you know. Then also having to come back and run individual events as well, you still are asking for a lot to put on their bodies, you know. So again, the official made the decision to run the race. Me, I would say, okay, it is what it is. We got to run the race all over again. Let's just go and make it happen and just keep it moving. Because the officials, at the end of the day, they set the tune of whether it's a runoff, whether we're going to replay it, make sure we see all the facts, get all the stories together, and if they deem that at the end of the day, they get to make the final decision. So we just have to move on with that and keep it moving.
In the Jamaican 4x1 team in the third leg, David Riley has Kennedy, the 400 runner-up. He has 4x4 duty today. They may have planned the 4x1s last night, give him all day today to relax and recover and to get hydrated for the 4x4. So I think that's another factor in that last announcement. It's on the Supernet as well that Jamaica will not run the 4x1s in the rerun.
I suspect we'll be talking about this for many days to come, even after the 50th CARIFTA Games has concluded tonight in Nassau, Bahamas. On behalf of the entire team, we had Ricky Barry down by trackside, Hubert Lawrence and Chris Brown. My name is Ricardo Chambers. Join us this afternoon when we close out CARIFTA 50 from the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium in Nassau, Bahamas.